Hi everyone, my name is Courtney Kibiloski, and for my senior project, I did an internship with physical therapy. On my internship, I learned a lot about physical therapy, and my mentor, Abby Beatty, she is related to the school, and she's very part of it, so that was really easy to find her. And she was definitely very helpful in a lot of ways, and she let me be really hands-on with all the patients and things like that. Like, I got to go right up and see the person breathe and see how they relax and things like that, and how they let go of their injuries and things like that, which was really cool to see. And so that was really the essence of that. And some of you might be wondering, what is physical therapy? Physical therapy is a broad term, and it is usually, it's a technique of healing a person that is injured from surgery or trauma of some kind, or has a disability with their body. So, with my mentor, I worked with neurological repatterning technique, which is one of the many techniques you can use in physical therapy. And what it is, pretty much, is you touch certain parts of your body, and that helps release certain parts of your body. Your whole body is really linked, is what I really found. And when she would touch certain spots, she would flick your skin, like as if she was touching my neck. She would flick it, and she would breathe out. And that would help the person relax and then release the tension in their neck or in their back or wherever the tension was. So throughout my journey, I learned about the body and all the mysteries of that and how it all works. And then I also learned about the people and how you need to adapt to every mood, and how every person is very different and how you need to work with them. And I also learned about the job and how technical physical therapy is. It's very technical, and you need a lot of education and in all different realms, and it was really cool to see how my mentor Abby really dealt with everybody. On the job with Abby was really fun. She was very helpful in many ways, and I really learned a lot from her. So here I'm going to invite Colin Cantwell, my classmate, up. Everybody give him a round of applause. He's going to help me demonstrate kind of what Abby would do. So here is Male, and he is he's very athletic, so that's kind of good to see all the muscle and things like that. So Abby would, first of all, she would check his sacrum and pelvis, and to see if he is all lined up in that way. This is where the core of your whole back, how it runs and everything. So if this is good, you're pretty good. So that was cool to see. And what she does is she would check the rotation of it while he moved, which you will see in my future photos in a minute. So, and then she would stretch the back and check all the way up the spine and all around here, and then the neck, which is also a very key point. So in neurological repatterning is what her technique was. She would just touch the skin, and really quickly, like you couldn't even see what she was doing with her hands. It would just be like a quick little boop, and she would breathe out, and then he would relax if he was on the table right now. And she would also touch certain parts of his body, like his shoulder, or behind the knee, above the calf, kind of this area right here, and just hold there to help him just release the tension in his back or wherever his injury was. Thank you, Colin. Okay, so here's my mother, Bronwyn. She was a patient of Abby's. And right here you can see how she's checking the pelvis and the sacrum. And as Bronwyn is moving her legs up and down, she is just checking how the pelvis is moving in relation to that, to see if the rotation's off or anything is wrong with that particular part of the body. This is also her checking the sacrum and the pelvis more in depth, so she can really get into the core of the problem of the back pain, which was what Bronwyn's problem was. Here she's checking the leg length. Now that is a very key part of physical therapy, or her type of physical therapy. The leg length can be very different. Some people's, like when patients would come in, their legs were like this far off, and you're like, does they have a shorter leg? Like, were they born with a shorter leg? Absolutely not. their whole side of the body, the part that's injured, that side of the body tends to shrink and become more tense, so you can see it really well when you put the 2 feet together. And that's what she's doing right here to see what side of Bronwyn's body is in pain, or what side is where she needs to focus on. Here is what I described, where she would just hold behind the knee and above the calf. Just hold that right there. And Bronwyn really, that worked really well for him. Well for her. You could see her release really quickly, and that was just right on the button for her. Here is a very important part too, stretching the back. It's very relaxing, and it feels great when it's done to you. A lot of chiropractic people and all physical therapists tend to do this just to help them relax. And on the job, I had 2 people that really stuck out on me. The first was a strong, confident woman. She had hip surgery at the age of 4, which is not very common, especially back when she was 4 years old. Because she had a bone disease or some kind of hip issue that she had to get hip surgery right at the age of 4. And that's not so good because you're not fully developed at the age of 4. You're kind of small and little, so your bones are not fully developed. So that kind of impacted her life in a very hard way for her. Through middle school and high school, she had to go, she's a tall woman, so you could really see how she had one leg way shorter than the other. It was like a 4 to 5 inch difference. So she had to walk like this, which was hard for her to move quickly and things like that. And she just had to live with that because that's what her life really was. And I can just see, because she's so confident, that I could just see that she, out of high school, middle school, like taking all of whatever she got from that and teasing and whatnot, she came out really strong. And she had a very positive attitude. And that played a big role in her healing process. She was very positive about everything in her outlook on the world, which was really cool to be around. And her and Abby are really good friends, so it was just, her sessions were always just like girl time, chit chat. It was really fun for me to be a part of. My second impression was an elderly man. He was probably between the age of 85 and 90. He had suffered from back pain for about 30 years previous to me seeing him. And he suffered all the way from the top of his back to the bottom of his back. It was all so painful for him. And when I first saw him, he was sitting in a chair. And I look over, and it looks like he's looking at his feet. I thought, because he was so hunched over, I thought he was just looking at his feet or looking at something on the ground or something like that. And then he stood up, and he was just like completely hunched over, and he would walk so slowly. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy needs some help. Like, let me help him along here. And so that was really, it was different to see that kind of a process that he had to go through to help heal his back. And he has seen so many chiropractors, physical therapists, and neurological repatterning really worked for him because it was calming for him, and it helped him relax a little bit more than like chiropractic work where it's pushing and cracking and things like that. It's a little more abrupt. And with him, Abby had warned me going into the session that I would have to constantly remind him of like, keep your posture, shoulders back, like your left foot in front of the other, or not crooked, or things like that, that I'd had to constantly tell him and repeat myself like that. And for me, that doesn't work as well, because I don't like people just la, 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 in my ears, like, no, that does not work. I need to figure it out with my own body and do it myself. But I'm also an athlete, and I'm young, so I can do that. For him, it was really difficult for him to move just a little bit, just to adjust things just a little bit, which is what he needed. So I'd always have to constantly remind him, and that became a little frustrating for me because I didn't want to hear my voice over and over and over again. So I learned a lot from him to know I have to adapt to each patient and what their needs are and meet their needs so they can heal quicker. So, and that really showed me that this senior project was great for me because it got me out of my comfort zone just enough for me to learn about myself, which was really cool. So, yes, and the techniques I gained from Abby and her teachings, her whole outlook on life was just to be open and receive whatever comes in and just no judgment, no nothing of that sort. It's just all openness. And when she was working with patients, she would have you visualize, be open, think of your shoulder wide open, everything relax. And you could see that that worked really well with some patient. And then I also learned a lot about the mysteries of the body. Like sometimes patients would come in and Abby didn't really know what to do with them, so she'd really have to like test muscles, like things like that, just to see what's going on. And it was really cool that she had to really learn herself about each patient and, you know, gain things from that. And then, of course, adapting to each patient. Because patients would come in and they're in pain and they're grumpy and they're not happy to be here. They just want to be fixed and be healthy and feel great. So they're not, you know, in the best spirits per se. And she would have to just be like, okay, you know, tell me your problems. Let's relax. Let's just take it in, you know, and things like that, which was, you know, kind of a good thing for life, just to adapt, be very adaptable. It's really helpful, especially in physical therapy, but in life in general. And of course, the technical side of being a physical therapist. Abby had gone through schooling a lot. She has a lot of schooling behind her, and she has all sorts of different things she pulls out, like psychology, how to help them if they went through a trauma, things like that, help them get through that along with, because mental attitude, it plays a huge role in helping your body like heal, is what I really found, because some people would just be really stubborn and it wouldn't work. Their body wouldn't fix itself. But then there's, you know, the woman that I talked about, and she was just so positive, so it made a big difference. So I'd like to end with a quote from Bill Phillips, and he is a fitness guru. He's all into the whole fitness thing, and he's pretty famous, so some of you might know who he is. And I just love this quote. So, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, you absolutely, positively do have the power to change. And I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone who helped me with this. Joan, you're amazing. You were there for me the entire time, and it was really helpful. You helped me so much. Dave, you're awesome. You helped me with my PowerPoint. Marty, my father, he helped me with my speech and presence on stage. My mother being my guinea pig and helping me, and I got to take pictures of her. And of course, I would not be here today without my mentor, Abby Beatty, who's not here today, but you know, I'm thanking her from here. Yay, she's here. She's right over there. Thank you. Any questions for me? Yes, Bill.
Are you going to become a physical therapist?
The question was, what part of my project took me out of my comfort zone the most? I would have to say with the elderly man, just having to repeat myself, and then there was a time where I was throwing medicine balls and I had to challenge him. That's what Abby told me, and I didn't want to hurt him or things like that, but I still had to throw it out of, because he has slow reactions, so I didn't want to throw it too fast, things like that. And it was strange for me to tell an elderly person what to do. So that kind of was a big thing for me to, you know, get through. So, anything else? Yes. The question was, has Abby ever worked on me because of my injuries in sports and things like that? She has not yet. We are setting up a time because I haven't actually felt what it feels like to be worked on by Abby. I have seen it very in depth, but yes, I'm really excited to work with her, and we're setting up a time sometime in the next couple months. So, yes, Bridget. The question was, what are my plans for next year? Well, I plan to go to college, and I'm looking at a couple schools in Denver and a couple liberal arts schools all over the USA. So, anything else? Okay, thank you.